sad idea. I mean, we can't wait around a year and a half for this thing to get finished.
Marty, it's perfect. You're just not thinking fourth dimensionally.
Right, I have a real problem with that.
Don't you see? The bridge will exist in 1985. It's safe and still in use.
Let's be honest, the debate of luck versus hard work is gonna go on forever. It's subjective, but I strongly believe that if you're chasing a dream, finding others is not just an optional part of the journey, but a requirement that sometimes is more important than either luck or hard work.
I think you're wrong.
This ain't our song, these ain't our own songs. We get along well. You're hearing wedding bells. That ain't nothing like you. Sound nothing like you used to. So what? It's 1:30. You ain't asleep yet. Tell me your secrets. I'll tell everyone.
Well, like 95% of what was said, I fully agree with, but I really more think you forgot something, or didn't realize something. So I'd like to present the fourth principle of success. This fourth principle of success is time. Time, like the span of time over which you're working, not the time you spend each day. The other day, I was talking with Caleb Shaw from, Becoming a Filmmaker, and he asked me, did I think that this principle of time was the same thing as the principle of hard work? Because hard work requires putting in the effort and putting in the time. But I think there's a difference. The time you spend in the day, and really even in the week, working on something is part of hard work. But the number of years you spend on something, the number of decades you spend on something, that's the time aspect. This time aspect is interesting because there's no real rules around how long you should spend working before you should just give up. And I've seen a lot of people, they're great at what they do, but they give up before they've given it a big enough, good enough try. They haven't given it enough time. And you can work super hard. You can work super hard for like a little bit of time, and like you were putting in the hours, you put in 4, 5, 6 hours a day. If you're working a job, you put in a few hours a week, maybe even 10 hours a week in your free time. If you only keep it at that for like a year or 2 years, you're not gonna make it. Caleb mentioned to me that he's been uploading on YouTube every like couple months since 2016. And he's done this Becoming a Filmmaker thing, and he's got like 30,000, maybe 32,000 followers on Instagram, I think. But he's been putting in the time. I've been doing this since I was like 10, and nobody wants to watch a 10-year-old. Like, I understand that, but I have been developing my skills, and I've been putting in the time. But I still haven't made it. Does that mean I should just give up? Time is very measurable, but also very hard to measure. You can measure hours, days, years, weeks, months, seconds. But how do you measure how much time it took for somebody to make it? Like, how do you measure that? I've been thinking about this because when did I start working towards this goal of making content? Was it when I was 8 years old and bought my first action camera and used Windows Movie Maker on my 2007 laptop that was awful? Was it when I made my first short film when I was like 10? Maybe it's when I did my first like event shoot thing, which was when I was like 13. It was free. I just made a little promo video. I had no idea what I was doing. The video was terrible. I actually went back and I pulled it off my hard drive a few weeks ago and looked at it. And I ask this from a place of genuine wonder. What point should you give up on your goals? Like, at what point does it become pointless? Whew. Somebody's got a campfire going. So I came up with sort of an algorithm. I'm gonna call it that. Really what I did is I sat and thought about it, and let me explain this algorithm to you. On this side, you have luck, a luck meter. When the time meter goes up, the luck meter goes up too. It's based on a pretty sound principle. The more time you work towards your goals, the more chance you have for luck to happen and for you to have your big break. Basically, as the time goes up, your luck chances go up too. And see, that's where all the fourth dimension thinking, not thinking fourth dimensionally, came from. Time is the fourth dimension, and the fourth principle of success. Okay, so these other principles of success, I have a piece I wrote about them. Hard work is really a subjective one because you have to think about, what are you considering hard work? Do you consider sitting down here, recording and editing this, working on a visual element? Is that hard work? Not really. It's not manual labor. But if you don't work hard enough, like I have 4 videos uploaded on my channel currently, 5, and a few shorts, and that's not enough to have gone and gotten successful with this. So that's not that many videos. That's not that much of a chance. And I think Simon was talking about the Colin and Samir podcast where they ask the ratio of luck to hard work. You have people like Mr. Beast that come in and say, it's all hard work. And then you have other people come in and say, it's all luck, you know? And then most of them are somewhere in between. Let's talk about the beautiful principle that Simon brought up. Community. Community is sort of a wild card in this, honestly, because there's no measurable part of community. You can't measure how good your community is. In a way, you can, by what you are making and what you are outputting. Now, I think the more time you spend, the other things start to come into play, but if you spend a week on something, which I have done before, you're not going to be successful. Community is very important, but I think people tend to forget it's hard. It's not just easy. It's not like just going out, oh, I need to get a community today. Like, I gotta get milk, I gotta get a community, I gotta get groceries. No. Community is probably the most important aspect when it comes to success. When you look at successful people, they have a lot of successful people around them. And I would make the argument that they found the successful people around them before they were successful. I don't have anything to back that up, but something tells me that the smartest people that make it the biggest, they go out and find a room with people in it that have made it big. I have this phrase, this little thing I say. It's, you have limitless potential. I'm not saying that everyone can do everything. But if you have this mindset of limitless potential, you're going to achieve so much more than you ever realized. Building a community takes time. Community can give you relationships and tools that you never thought you needed. It can teach you things that you didn't know that you didn't know. We all have this love of telling stories, and that's where that relationship came in. We don't know each other. We're on 2 different sides of the planet. But we have this common ground of telling stories. What is the merit of success? How do you know you have become successful? People comment on my videos. They don't get many views. My most recent video has 200 views, which is crazy for me. That's crazy to me. 200 people, 200 souls have watched something I made and put out into the world. One thing societies have done for centuries upon centuries is they've created merits of success. You could be successful and have everyone hate you. If we put a number of views or likes or comments, these things are all fine, but people go viral for bad things, and that's why I think it comes down to something a little bit deeper. For me, I will know I succeeded when I've touched one person's soul with something I created. And by that standard, I've made it. I have comments of people telling me how much my videos affected them, which is crazy to me. My silly little internet video.
'Cause I thought the swing
Sunset,
could change